welcome back to my knitting room. I'm Melissa. I am Stitches Be Slippin on Instagram. I'm a knitter in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. My furnace is on right now, so hopefully that's not too loud and noisy and obnoxious. Also, my 8-year-old came home from school at lunchtime today because he wasn't feeling very well, so he is like ensconced out in the living room on the couch watching some sort of Sonic cartoon or something like that. So hopefully you can't hear that either. First of all, I really want to say thank you to everybody for the warm welcome into the knitting podcast community. I didn't know if I guess there's always room for more podcasters, more whips, more FOs. I had a few questions, mostly from my dad and friends who don't knit, what whips and FOs are. But other than that, all of the comments under the video from last time were really, really encouraging and heartwarming and made me feel really awesome. So thank you so much for all of that. I remember when I started knitting, when I started watching knitting podcasts, I didn't have any like in-life friends who knitted. Nobody really got why I was so obsessed with knitting. And I started watching knitting podcasts on YouTube, and it helped me feel like I wasn't some weirdo who is into this crazy niche thing that nobody gets. So I thank you for welcoming me into that community. And if you don't have any in-life knitting friends, I'll be it. I'll be your knitting friend. If you want to be a knitting friend in real life, just message me on Instagram. If you live in Calgary, we'll get together and have coffee and knit. I'm down with that. Anyway, thank you. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, with just along those lines of being a knitter and not kind of feeling like you're not an outsider, but like you are into something that's weird that people don't get. We went for dinner at some people's house we were invited over to for dinner. They're like one generation older than us, maybe. So they have like kids that are grown in university type age. And anyway, they had us over for dinner, and we were sitting around the dinner table chatting, and knitting came up because it's basically all I have to talk about besides my kids. Is the things I love are my kids and my knitting, my husband, my family. So knitting came up somehow, and it was quickly kind of dismissed as, oh, well, whatever, that's not... the words "that's not valid" weren't used, but the vibe, that's some silly women's thing or whatever. And that really got under my nerves, and I'm not very good at hiding how I feel. My face says it all. It's kind of challenging sometimes out in public, because even if I'm not saying it, you can see what I feel on my face. So anyway, that really rubbed me the wrong way. And I said, well, what do you like? What are you into? And he said, cars. Like, he has a fancy car in his garage and whatever. And he likes to take his car to get washed, and he likes to drive around in his car. And I was like, okay, well, that's not interesting to me either. But I think that you having an interest in that is valid, and I think that me having an interest in what I like is valid, and I don't think we need to be putting each other down for the things that we enjoy doing. So he shut up after that, and we just carried on having our dinner. Anyway, we've had a busy little past couple of weeks. We went to the mountains this past weekend. My son had a hockey tournament. I think I said I live in Calgary. We live very close to the mountains, to the Rocky Mountains. It's only about an hour drive. My son had an outdoor hockey tournament at Lake Louise, which is just a little bit farther past Banff. Banff is the world's renowned tourist destination in the mountains here. There's lots of ski hills and stuff around there. And Lake Louise is a very famous ski hill also, but there's also like a little town, and an amazing outdoor hockey rink. So we were there for the weekend, and I got some knitting done there. I'm just looking for a picture of this hockey rink because it was so cool. And I'm in the wrong place here. Oh shoot, now I lost it. This is the hockey rink where we were. So in here is the ice, obviously, and the mountains in the background. It was really cool. Thankfully, the weather was nice. It was only about between 0 and -5 degrees Celsius, which is very manageable. We didn't freeze our asses off, so that was quite lovely. But it was a 2-hour drive there. I didn't get to knit on the way there. My husband had just gotten home from a work trip in South America. He flew home all over the night before and got home at lunchtime, and then we left an hour later to go to the mountains. So he was tired and didn't want to fall asleep at the wheel and whatever, so I had to drive. But I did get to knit for 2 hours on the way home. I got to knit in the hotel room. So I did get some knitting done, and what I really focused on after my last podcast was finishing my Lento sweater. So that will get us right into FOs here. This is my Lento sweater. It is a pattern by Gianna. I said it in my last podcast. I'll write it down underneath the video here. It is just a basic raglan top down. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic pattern. It has short rows in the back to raise up the neckline a little bit. If you're scared of short rows or haven't done short rows before, I highly recommend just watch a couple tutorials on short rows, German short rows in particular, because wrap and turns are kind of tricky. So German short rows are what I really rely on. I think it was German short rows in this pattern actually. So they're not as hard or as scary as you think. So just give it a try. This yarn is, oops, forgot to turn that off. Sorry. The yarn I used for this is, it does look a little bit gray. It is a really nice kind of steely blue. It looks a little gray in the video, but okay, I can show up. Don't mind my little hole here. These are my favorite jeans, but they can't handle my powerful hips. So I decided to make it a split hem. That's not in the pattern, so that's a slight modification. So once I got the length I wanted, then I just started doing ribbing back and forth across the front, and then I did a little bit longer ribbing back and forth across the back, and then bound off. Fits pretty well. I tried it on after I blocked it, and my husband was like, they always fit you so well. I'm like, yeah, that's why you knit your own sweaters, bro. Anyway, the yarn I was going to show you. This is, I have an extra, there it is. Ancient Arts yarn. The colorway is Iron Horse. Socknado is the base, which is 80% superwash, fine merino, 20% nylon. So the mohair is this. Oh, that looks way more gray on the video. It's much more warm and blue in person. But I did find I promise I did find the tag, and the name of the dyer is called Handmaiden. I think it used to be, I'm not sure if it was like a sub brand under Fleece Artist, or if Fleece Artist and Handmaiden are two separate things. I'm not quite sure, but the Handmaiden is what was on the tag. And this skein of mohair, this is just, I actually wound it off into two separate skeins. The skein of mohair that this came from was a 125 gram skein of mohair, which is the general like the general rule of thumb for a mohair skein is usually about 50 grams. So this puppy was like, oh, now I'm doing math in my head. This is not good. 2.5 skeins of mohair, all in one skein. So I don't know if I have a regular skein up there. I don't. But yeah, it was a big guy, like big and fluffy. And it's awesome. So I didn't have to alternate skeins of mohair. I didn't alternate my fingering either. But that's because it's like a tonal semi-solid. There's a lot number on there. So it was the same dye lot. So I was very comfortable with not having to alternate to avoid pooling. I was very comfortable with that. Plus, I was holding it with mohair throughout. So I knew the mohair really kind of like dulls everything down and makes it look kind of uniform. And the nice thing is that all of the mohair I held throughout was from the same skein, so there's that consistency, which makes it look super profesh. Oh, there's the tag. Handmaiden. Super Kid Silk. So it's 70% mohair, 30% silk. And it was 125 grams, 1,000 meters, 1,093 yards. It was like a big honker of a skein of mohair. And I got those yarns at the Beehive Wool Shop in Victoria, British Columbia. Okay, so that is my Lento. The next thing, this is like acquisitions and an FO, because I was at work. I work as a yarn dyer at Polka Dot Creek Yarn in Airdrie, and we were doing self-striping yarn last week. Well, actually, we dyed it the week before. I can't remember when we dyed it. Anyway, it was hanging up on the racks. It wasn't just another one of those situations where I couldn't leave it at work because it would have been kind of rude. So I made my husband a pair of socks in the Polka Dot Creek colorway called Coffee Shop a while ago. That's these. You can, I don't know if you can tell. These are well worn. These are one of his favorite pairs of socks that I've made him. So this is the Coffee Shop colorway with chocolate. I think that's spruce. I think it is just lightened up because he wears them a lot. So these I made him a few years ago before I even worked at Polka Dot Creek. And then now we've been doing a lot of self-striping, and now we're turning all of our like speckled colorways, sock sets, into self-striping colorways. So we take all the colors of the speckles that are in here, we turn into stripes, and then we do an actual speckled stripe too. So they were hanging there, and as I mentioned last time, my husband's birthday is coming up. It is next week on February 14th. And I usually make him socks for his birthday, Christmas, that kind of thing. So I had to take one of our Coffee Shop ones because it was so good. And this is how it turned out. Now, no, I did not knit all of this. At work, we have a circular sock machine, just like Blanche over there that I mentioned last time. It's a 64-stitch circular sock machine from Erlbacher Gerhardt. Mine is named Blanche because she's temperamental, and I'm a huge Golden Girls fan. I love Blanche. So at work, we have a circular sock machine there too. Shelly has one. Shelly's the owner of Polka Dot Creek. And so I just took it off the rack, cranked it, and brought home the big long tube. And then I cut in heels and toes. And, well, first I knit the cuffs. I have pictures of the whole process. So, did you notice? There's my phone. I got a new computer. I'm hoping that it works to film this on here so I can upload it from my computer so that my phone, I can show you things on my phone, that kind of stuff. So I took the tube and I knit, where's my cuffs? on the ends first, and then I marked out where, I can't see this, where there's stitch markers along the sides, and that's where I decided, I counted the rows to see. I used this previous sock that I made him and counted how many rows from the cuff down to the heel, and then I inserted a stitch marker on the tube, and then I counted how many rows from here to the toe and inserted a stitch marker there. So then I just cut in a heel there and then cut the whole tube off and knit the toe. And that, here's what it looked like when I was cutting in. That was the hole for the first heel. And then I don't think I took any more pictures after that, but that's the process. Shelly actually has a good video on her YouTube channel. That's the Polka Dot Creek Yarn YouTube channel, on how to take a tube, and hers is a 100-gram tube, like a full skein of fingering weight yarn, and how to cut it apart, and like step by step how to do it, everything. And with a full 100-gram skein of yarn, you can pretty much get 2 pairs of socks out of that. This is, all our self-striping yarn is 50-gram skein. This is obviously just one of them. I did both. But lost my train of thought. Oh, I was gonna say, 50-gram skein can get you a pair of socks for sure. My husband he doesn't have huge feet. He has, like, I think he has size 9 men's feet, which is, like, I think fairly average. And I got 2 pairs of socks, or 2 socks out of it, and I have this much left of the tube. I measured it, it's about 4.5 inches left. So if you have bigger feet, like, there would be another at least 2 inches for each sock if you had bigger than a size 9 feet men's. Oh, and this is my cute little Cats Wearing Sweaters bag. I got this from a lovely local maker. Her making name is Nitty Pie. She makes bags occasionally. She works full time and has kids and whatever, so it's not her main hustle, but she does it every once in a while. And I got this at a fiber festival when she set up a booth last time. So cute. And I think that's all I wanted to say about the socks for my husband. Yes, I did make some more. Actually, while I'm talking about my husband, I asked if he wanted to make a guest appearance, and he politely declined. He is not a social media, internet, well, no. He likes reading the internet. He just doesn't want to be on the internet. So I said I would show his cowl that he made himself. So this is not my FO, this is my husband's FO. So this is a cute little cowl. I mean, super handsome, rugged cowl that he made for himself. I think this was the second one that he knit. He knit the first one in his side of the family. He has a brother and a sister, and they both have spouses. And so the 6 of us draw names and have each other for Christmas. We decided a few years ago, I think it was during COVID, not that COVID's over, at the height of COVID, we decided to make each other gifts. And luckily he had a knitting teacher in the house, and so I taught him how to knit, and he made a cowl like this for his brother for Christmas. It was actually out of the coffee shop colorway, but on DK. So this yarn is Polka Dot Creek DK Tweed in the color gray, I believe. It's not charcoal, it's not dark enough. I had this left over from, I made a full-on tweed colorwork sweater, and this was my main color. So I had this left over, and he did a great job. So after he made his, then after he made his brother's, he immediately wanted to cast one on for himself. So he cast that one on. The pattern we used, I didn't really know kind of what stitch count for him to cast on. So I went on Ravelry and found a free DK cowl pattern. It's called Symphony by Elizabeth Trudell. And so that just kind of gave me an idea of what to stitch count to start off with and what needle size and that kind of stuff. So I think he did a great job. He wears it all the time in the winter. And then he comes home if he's wearing it and he's like, it's kind of cool to be wearing something and know that you made it. And people say, oh, I like that. And you say, oh, thanks, I made it. Yeah, that's how it goes. Dave's cowl. Okay, I think that's it for FOs. For my whips, I'm still, oh no, I forgot about my Centro. I mentioned on my last podcast, I got a Centro 48 needle knitting machine. And then I immediately started cranking out hats. I made a few more this past week for myself just because I was in the mood, and so I just cranked out a bunch. So this, very on brand for me. I love hot pink. And not much to say about it, just that it's fucking awesome. And I made a green one. My eyes are green. And let's pop that sucker on there. See? They look cute. And I made a sort of like lavendery purple one. Not really much that I have to talk about besides that I just cranked those all out one day. Oh, I also named my Centro. I have to thank Karen, my friend Karen, for the idea, because my circular sock machine's name is Blanche, and she can be a real bitch sometimes. And I decided to name my Centro Dorothy, because she's sturdy, stable, reliable. So, Golden Girls for life. Those I had sitting in my little leather bag. This bag is by another local maker. Her name is Alyssa, and her business name is Her Leather Co. That is her handle on Instagram. And I can't remember if I think she has her own website. I'll link her down below. I have two of her bags. She makes beautiful, beautiful leather bags. So this has pockets on the outside, and it opens up nice and big. It stays like that when it's just sitting on the floor or wherever. It has a couple pockets on the inside too. I don't know if you can see in there. So this is, I think, the medium. She has two sizes of this style of bag. I think this one's called the medium. There's another one that's called the large. They're awesome. I love my preferred style of project bag is just handles and that just stays open. I never close. Even if I use a zipper bag, I never zip it. I don't know. I'm lazy. I can't be bothered. I don't know. So I do have another larger one of those. That one is great for, I don't know, you can actually fit quite a bit of stuff in it. But the large one is great for sweaters and that kind of stuff. Yeah. What else was I going to say? Okay. I was going to go into whips. My Cozy Memories, I added one square to because I finished my Lento. And where was I? I had added, let's get this puppy out of here. Last time I had finished this one, added this one, and then I finished my Lento, so I added in the blue fingering weight from my Lento. I like this kind of approach where I'm not feeling like stressed that I need to keep adding blocks to my Cozy Memories, but whenever I finish working on something, I can just take that yarn and add it in, and then it is a memories blanket. my next square that I'm going to put in, I'm going to use this little tube from making socks for my husband. I'm going to use it as a sock blank. If I can get that out of there. I'm just going to use it as a sock blank. Ha! And knit it into my Cozy Memories blanket. If you don't know what a sock blank is, it's you can get from the supplier. It's like a double knitted, undyed. They're usually kind of like double this thickness. So I don't know how many stitches it is, but it's like that, and probably long, I don't know, longer. Anyway, it's and then you can like splash dye on it. It's really fun for like experimenting with colors and color combinations and stuff. And then when you knit from it, so you buy it in, it kind of looks like a dish towel almost, but you go to the end. There's two ends that you can pull from, like this. One end isn't going to work as well. The other end is going to work as well. So then you just use this as your yarn ball or your skein of yarn. So you're unknitting the sock blank and using that yarn to knit whatever it is you're knitting. So this, I'm going to use this as my sock blank and knit it my next square on my Cozy Memories. Actually, this is the last square in this row, so I think I have to start a new row for next time. I decided, apparently when I went on this kick a while ago, I decided to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wide. So it's gonna take a while. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was thinking it was a great idea at the time, I guess. This bag, I didn't show last time that I housed my Cozy Memories blanket in. It's just like a big tote bucket, whatever you want to call it. It has a handle on the side. It is from Wild Strands Handcrafted. She makes beautiful bags. This one, I believe, she tie-dyed herself. So, super cool. I actually won this as a prize from the Grocery Girls in one of their knit-alongs or something like that. So, love that. And that's all for my Cozy Memories. My half and half. I haven't got a ton of work done on my half and half wrap. It's called the Half and Half Triangles wrap by Pearl Soho. I did get, my cable is not as long as the thing, but it's coming along slowly. That's about how much I've gotten done. Here's where, so if you don't know, you cast on a number of stitches, then you go to basically to the end, short row, go all the way back, come back to one stitch before that, short row, all the way back. So you're just short rowing the whole time to make a triangle, and then you put your next color on for the next triangle. So this is how many short rows I've done. And this is how many short rows I still have to do. Yeah. It's a long-term project, but the next color is this. So half a triangle in that, half a triangle in that. I mentioned last time that I had actually finished my first triangle and then realized I effed it up. So I had to go back. And I think I mentioned this, that I did get that second bright color on and saw what it was going to look like. So that's what's keeping me through. I did get to take a picture of it. So that's, the color combo is like, floating my boat. So that's what's getting me through, keeping me going on this, because I know it's just going to be, it's going to be amazing. So that is that. Once again, still living in my bag from Creek Gardens Crafts. It was Penny. I said her name wrong like 100 times on the last episode, so sorry, Penny. Her business name is Creek Gardens Crafts, and she's on Etsy. And this has cute animals and corduroy, and I love it. And my mom bought me that bag. She came to visit us when we had the Creekside Yarn Festival a few weeks ago. She came to check it out. She's a cross stitcher and a quilter. Those are her two main jams. She's made me a number. She made me this cross stitch. Which way? Right there. Oh boy. Yeah, she just wanted to come and check it out. And so I was showing her Penny's bags. And then I saw that one and I was like, oh, I love that bag. Mom, I really love that bag. Mom. So she bought the bag for me. Thanks, Mom. I was also going to show, no, I should keep going through my whips and not let this train get too far off the track. But I do have an FO of my mom's that I want to show. Oh my God, all this hair. I desperately need a haircut. I've been loving having long hair, but yesterday I finally was like, oh my God, I have to cut. I think I'm gonna cut to like there because it's so much. I have so much yarn. I do have so much yarn. But I have a lot of hair too. Can you see that? Like my brain is just like yarn, 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 yarn all the time. I do have I don't have super thick hair. I just have a lot of hair. It's very densely populated. Anyway, that is not what I was talking about. I am going to get my hair cut because it's driving me fucking bananas. Okay, half and half. Okay, my next whip is very exciting. So I mentioned last time we're going to Chicago for a work trip for my husband. And one night we have to dress in Prohibition, flapper, whatever, type of clothing, 20s era stuff. So I found this amazing project. Sorry if that's noisy. This is called the Fete Stole by Two of Wands. And it's gorgy porgy. So I am making that with Go for Faux. Now, side note, it says Go for Faux. Like, I feel like that's a missed opportunity. It should say Go Fur Faux, right? It's faux fur. Anyway, the color is Blonde Elk. And to say like the word obsessed would be such an understatement at this point. So I started it like 2 days ago. I stopped the increases because I'm just not huge. So you just kind of like increase up to here, then go straight, and then increase. So it's like the straight part goes around your back, and then yeah, you get the picture. Oh, it's so soft. So that's not how it's gonna go. It's gonna go, I can't. I think you get the picture. My needles are still in it. So it'll be like this. It'll come across like this. And then this obviously isn't long enough yet. It'll go around back here and it'll come and meet here. It has like a thing where you can attach it. Anyway, it kind of, yeah, it's not coming through how, oh, it's so soft. Yeah, so this stitch marker here, Progress Keeper, I don't know if you can see that. Yes. Oh, so gorgeous. I mentioned Lolly last time. She's Ocean Loops on Instagram, and I believe she has her own website now too. It's actually a stitch marker. I just attached it with a light bulb stitch marker because I wanted it to be my Progress Keeper. So yeah. I forgot, last time I mentioned that I bought some stuff from Lolly at the festival, and then I forgot to show them, so I am going to show them in a little bit. That project is living in, you hear like the angels, this is this is a little acquisition too. This is the Santa Cruz bag by Hohi & Co. I don't know if you can see, where's Hohi? Where's her name? Hohi & Co. It is beautiful. It was a treat yourself for sure. Suede leather bags are not cheap, especially when they're coming from Argentina. But they're so good at making bags that are beautiful. Orange. Where did orange come from? Green is my favorite because, like I said, green eyes. It is a huge, like, you can fit a ton of shit in here. I have that project in there. I have this ball. I have this ball. I think I'm on my second ball. This will be my third ball. So I did have 3 balls in here at one point, but I could easily fit 3 or 4 more in here. It's huge. It is very floppy though. So like when you sit it down, it just flops. So that's not my favorite, but it's still beautiful and holds lots of stuff. This would be perfect for a sweater. So I did get that. I know I showed a million project bags last time. I don't usually buy like a million things, but I've been waiting for that one because Hohi & Co. only do certain colors every update. So I held out on the last time they did green, and then I was kicking myself, and I had to wait like almost a full year until they did green again so I could buy it. And once it comes up, you have to buy it because they'll be gone in an instant. And yeah, so okay, Fet Stole, done. Bob. So Bob, I think this is Bob. He's my temperature snake. I mentioned last time, this is a pattern by Planet June on Instagram. June, I can't remember her last name again. Sorry. So Bob is a snake. I have the, my brain is melting now. Deep breath. Each stripe is for a day. I have a graph of temperature ranges and colors assigned to those temperature ranges. Most of January was very boring. There were a few little bits of color and stuff. It got real cold that day. So this is January. This is 31 stripes. This is all of January. And after that, I decided, I think Bob's just going to be a January temperature snake. Because I don't want to do this anymore. So I think I might just crochet the tail onto the end. Although I don't have the pattern for the tail yet. That comes in December at the end of the year when it's supposed to be 365 stripes long. Yeah. I thought in the beginning, I can commit to one little stripe a day, like tiny little round. And it's not that I don't have the time to commit to it. I think he's cute. It just, the way my brain works, it just stresses me out having an ongoing thing that I know I should be working on. And if I get behind on it, then that's going to stress me out. And I've never tried a temperature blanket before because I knew that was going to be way too much and I wouldn't be able to do it. So I thought this would be more manageable, which it is. It's not very big. It's not a lot of stitches a day, but I don't like that feeling of having something hanging over me every day and like, oh, I need to do that. And oh, I forgot to do that yesterday, so now I have to do 2 days. And it just, I tried it and it didn't work. Well, it worked, but I'm not into it. And I don't think that we should beat ourselves up for that. I think if we decide to try something, that's great. If it doesn't work out, just move on, try something else. So, I don't know. He might have to wait until December when I get the pattern for the tail, and he'll just be a tiny little snake. Whatever. Long live Bob. Well, short live Bob, actually. Okay, acquisitions. I got my Hohi bag. I got the yarn for my husband's coffee shop socks, so that was a acquisition and an FO, which is like good stuff. Okay, so I was going to mention last time about my stuff that I got from Ocean Loops last time at the Creekside Yarn Festival, and then I've totally forgot because my brain doesn't like to remember things. And so I bought two things from Lolly. Well, I bought a number of things, but they're in two separate, whatever. I bought this stitch marker set, and she has like cute, fun names for them, but I don't know what they are. This has like this cute little flower. And this is sort of like a raglan set if you're using fancy markers for your raglan. So this one, this is a progress keeper, and then there's 4 stitch markers, 2 on each side, so 4 markers. I just like to use these for my beginning of row because I don't like things that are like big and heavy and that I have to slip over to my next needle. I actually find if I'm using something too big or heavy that I can see my beginning of round, it gets kind of wonky. So I like these are nice and light and they're so pretty. Lolly does such a good job of making pretty things. And this is the other thing I bought from Lolly. Oh, it's so gorgeous. These are also stitch markers, but they're on a bracelet. She also makes gorgeous necklaces, knitting necklaces with, okay, sorry for that face. I'm putting it on. I haven't actually put it on. There we go. So, look at that beautiful bracelet. I was actually dressed up a few times a few weeks ago and was like, I wish I had like some bangles or something. My problem with bangles is that I have my hand, oh, that didn't look very good. My hands are really wide across here, like across here. So regular bangles I can't fit over my hand. They get to here and they get stuck. So this is really awesome because it's adjustable, because you can just, oop. And this is why I'm not on the shopping channel, because I make weird noises like that and can't actually function. So there's, she zhuzhed it up for me and put a little ribbon on it. So I don't know if you can see where that connects there, but look at how gorgeous those stitch markers are. She has such a beautiful eye for color, and she always uses like the beautiful fancy rings and obsessed. Good job, Lolly. I will actually talk about your stuff this time instead of forgetting. And those are all my acquisitions. Well, I do have some, this kind of ties in. I was going to talk about some planning for future projects. I can't remember if I talked about the other night. I think I did. When we go to Chicago, where I want to make a mohair held with sequins, a top for a dinner, a fancy dinner we're going to. I did mention that. So I narrowed it down. I've just been kind of on the hunt and searching, and I finally found the pattern that I'm going to use. And this stupid thing just auto corrects. And I found the perfect pattern. It's called the Puff Tee. It's by Knitting for Olive, or I think Pernille Larson. Oh, that doesn't want to. But it's just a cute little blouse. It has a little puff here, and then where the ribbing is here, it cinches in, so it's a little puff there. And it's just like a basic blouse, but it has those puffs. So I'm gonna add, it's mohair held double is what the pattern calls for, so I'm going to do that. Plus I'm going to hold a strand of sequin yarn throughout. So that will be my sparkle. Our dress code is sparkly, shiny, or slinky or something. So that's gonna be my sparkle. I was having a lot of trouble deciding what color to make because I want it to be fancy and elegant and pretty much every color I look at, I'm like, ooh, that would be nice. Ooh, that would be nice. I put it out to the Instagram, and pretty much the vast majority of people said black. And I didn't know if I was ready to knit with black yarn and sequins at the same time, but I think I have resigned myself to it. There are a number of other colors that were definitely in the running, but one thing that has narrowed it down is the sequin yarn. So I know a lot of people know of the Crafty Jackalope. She sells lots of sequin yarn. And so I was looking at all the colors that she has. She has some that are called Mega Bling, where I think she has a chart on her website of the different kinds of sequined yarn and how many sequins per 4 inches each kind has. So the Mega Bling is like 20 sequins per 4 inches or something like that, which is awesome, but also much more expensive. So the regular sequin yarn is, I think, I can't remember what it said, 2 sequins per 4 inches or 4 sequins per 4 inches or something like that, which is more manageable, and also significantly cheaper and way more yardage. So the one that have less sequins is like $11 a ball and like 400 yards or something like that. And the Mega Bling ones are, I think, $17 a ball, and it's only like 120 yards or something like that. So for this pattern, I think I'm going to need roughly 900 to 1,000 yards. So it calls for like 150 grams of mohair, but that's my other thing. Though the pattern calls for like 2 to 4 inches of ease, and I don't want ease. I'm going to make it like a negative ease, which is like not too big, not too small, because I want it to be like fitted with the puff. So I'm going to I have a 34-inch bust, and the smallest size is, I think, 35 3/4 inches. So I'm going to make the smallest size with, I think, probably just one size needle smaller than the pattern recommends. So that will hopefully get me, I'm usually a bit of a tighter knitter anyway, so I'm hoping that will get me where I need to go. So that will get me I probably need about 900, like roughly 2 skeins of mohair. So the equivalent of that in sequin yarn. So if I went with the less sequin yarn, then I would only need probably 2, maybe 3 balls of it. But if I went with the Mega Bling stuff, I'd need like 9, I think, at $17 a ball, as opposed to 2 or 3 at $11 a ball. Yeah, so that was my deciding factor. I had one other color that was majorly in the running that I have already in my stash. It's like a frosty blue color, and the Crafty Jackalope has that color in the Mega Bling, but the price of the yarn and the number of balls that I would need just kind of solidified my choice. I'm doing black. I've ordered some black mohair from Knitting for Olive. Actually, it's Knitting for Olive mohair, but I ordered it from, I think it was the Knitting Loft in Toronto. So that is on its way. I need to order my sequin yarn still. I haven't done that yet. But yeah, that's my story on that. And my other thing that I'm planning is we're going on a beach vacation here very soon, and I need to figure out what I'm taking with me to knit. The problem with being obsessed with mohair is that it's not a great thing for knitting on a beach. When you're hot and your hands are sweaty and grippy, mohair just doesn't flow through your fingers like regular yarn. So I'm not going to be taking any mohair projects with me. I was thinking about maybe trying to cast on a Musselburgh. I don't know how to pronounce. I don't have a Scottish accent. Sorry for that. I have a number of skeins of yarn that I could use to make a Musselburgh. I have tried to make a Musselburgh before. If you don't know what the Musselburgh is, it's a fingering weight toque/hat by, I believe it's Isolde Teague. I will put it down below. But you start at the top or the bottom, whichever, and you do increases till you get a certain way. Then you do a big, huge, long tube. It takes the whole skein of fingering weight yarn. Then you do your decreases at the end, and it's just a big, long kind of tube. And then once you're done, you bind off, you just fold the tube into itself, and it turns into a double layer tube width. And if you fold it over, then it's quadruple layer for the headband. Anyway, that was really long and boring. I've tried one before. I have some yarn here that I just dyed in my kitchen, and I tried, but I can't figure out the best way to make it, because the stitch count, maybe I need to make a different size. I don't know. The stitch count I had, it was too many stitches for 9-inch circulars, but it wasn't enough stitches for 16-inch circulars. It was like I said last time, I don't like having my stitches spread out. I like having them all kind of jammed together so that I'm not constantly having to shift them over. So I bought 12-inch circulars at work, but I don't know if you've seen these before. They're ChowGoo 12-inch fixed circulars, but the needles, like usually a fixed needle, like the needle and the cable is just a seamless. I mean, it's still seamless, but these ones, like the needle, and then it like has like the needle takes a hook almost. It takes a little turn, and I'm not a fan. I did not enjoy using those needles at all. It's just the way that you hold on to them. Though did not like that. I am also not a huge fan of, like, I will do magic loop for toes, for heels, whatever. I'm not a huge fan of doing a whole project on magic loop. It just kind of, the constant pulling the needle out and shifting it over and it's not my jam. So I don't know if I will be doing that, because I can't figure out a good way to get it done. That was a long, pointless story. Sorry. My other thing that I was thinking about, I think I'll probably take my half and half wrap, because it's easy, mindless knitting. And then the other thing that I thought of, where did I put that? Oh, darn. I thought I had everything here, because like I got up and down a lot last time and it was really obnoxious. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go through my list and make sure everything is here, but there's still something over there that I forgot to bring over here. So here I go. I have, this is a possibility a very strong possibility. I'm going to take one of these with me. I have a couple of kits. Oh, okay. I have an embroidery kit for a little embroidery. It's this one here, which is a whole bunch of colorful yarn balls. Sorry for my hang now. It's very, very, very dry here. My hands are like sandpaper. So that's the yarn balls embroidery that I have. I haven't started it. I've had it for quite a while, but I think it'd be a really great plain project, beach project, pool project. Like, it's very small and transportable. I didn't say who this was from. This is called, that's her shop website. Her name is Knitted Bliss, I believe. So yeah, I have that kit. I have that living in this little project thing. I got this from my mom. She's the cross stitcher that I mentioned before. I really love this. It's so cute. It has butterflies all over it. I love butterflies. So I don't know if she made this. I was just at her house one day and I was like, ooh, I really like that. And so she gave it to me. Are you sensing a pattern here? Yeah, so it's really fun. I don't know if she made it or if she bought it from someone, so sorry. If you want it, you can't have it. It's mine. So that is a very, very distinct possibility that I'm going to take. I have this other kit too for a punch needle, which I've done a few of. There's that one up there. There's another one over there that you can't see. I found punch needle really fun. I took a class at Stash Lounge once, and it's It's very satisfying because it goes really fast. I mean, if you're doing a small one. So this is the punch needle kit that I got. This is from another local yarn dyer named Over the Moon Yarn. It's a mom and daughter named Serena and Kate, I believe, or Caitlin. So this is the punch needle. This was actually part of their, they do a Christmas mystery box, sort of like Advent, but not all of the minis. And they do a different theme every year. And this year, instead of mystery yarn, well, it was still mystery yarn, but it was in the form of a punch needle kit. I'm pretty sure, I believe that they dyed this yarn. It's not normal, like nice soft yarn. It's punch needle yarn, but it's really fun colors. Very much my kind of colors. And this is the cloth that, oh, it's upside down. Is it? Oh, there we go. So it's a cute little alien. I don't know if I'll take this one with me because I really don't think it's going to take very long. So I don't want to take it with me and then have it just sitting around waiting to go home. If you have any suggestions, what do you like to knit when in a hot place, like on the beach or by the pool? Something small, transportable, easy knitting. Not going to be doing any lace or cables or anything like that. But anyway, if you have any suggestions, or if you have any suggestions on how to do a musselburg without wanting to blow your brains out, that'd be great too. Okay, last but not least, I decided I was going to add a things from my knitting room segment because I'm in my knitting room and there's a lot of cool stuff in here that I want to share. So this was a very, very special present from my mom, who, as I mentioned, is a cross stitcher. I was at her house. Here we go with that theme again. I was at my mom and dad's once and I saw a pattern book that she was working on, or she had. I don't know if she'd made it yet. But I really, really loved the saying on it. And I made a big deal about it. And I was like, ooh, I really love that. I really love that, Mom. I really love that. And so she took mental note and then gave it to me later. Oh, I can't remember if it was my birthday or Christmas. But it's so beautiful. It says, she works with willing hands in delight. And that was my absolute favorite because that is how I feel about knitting. Working with my hands, it gives me delight. My hands are willing. So the MLJ is my initials. The VLJ is my mom's initials. Sorry about the thing on my finger. I scratched it on something a while ago. So I did ask my mom for the pattern and stuff because I know there are some cross stitchers out there. What are you called? What do they call them? When you watch it on YouTube? Floss tube. I like that. So the name of the pattern is called Tiny Treetops Rose or Thyme. And the designer is Blackbird Designs. I don't know what fabric she used. I'm quite sure it's hand-dyed fabric of some sort. But isn't it beautiful? And the frame that she put it in is so awesome. She made it in 2021. What else was I going to say about that? Oh, she said that she kind of tweaked the pattern a little bit. There were things that she moved around. What did she say? I asked her and she texted me and then, what did she say? It's not the exact original chart. She took out the alphabet, so there must have been an alphabet in there, and put the saying in and then added our initials to this line. And that's it. So it's very beautiful. I almost cried when I opened it because it's so special. It's so special when you're a maker, when someone makes something for you. You're so used to making things for other people. I think my mom is the only person in the world who's ever made anything for me. So it was very, very special. It lives on the wall right beside my knitting chair over there. I am in my husband's knitting chair again because this is the best light in the room. So, I don't think I had any more things to talk about. Oh, I didn't mention what the yarn was for that half and half wrap. I just have it sitting here. The half and half triangles wrap, the designer's Pearl Soho. The yarn is Pearl Soho linen quill. Oh, my hair's hanging off of it. This one is called Peony Pink. And this one's called Pink Pop, I think. Yep. So those are the colors for that. I had one other thing over here. I got this. This is Ancient Arts yarns, that same fingering weight base. I got this in a yarn swap a little while ago, and thought it would be good to make my husband socks. So this is also on the possibilities to take to the beach. But I just don't want to knit socks anymore, so I don't know if I will. I don't, like I said, I think I said last time, when I started knitting socks, and I went really hard and I made a lot of socks. And I just am not super interested in knitting socks anymore. I love knitted socks. I think they're beautiful. I just don't want to knit them. So that's why I have a circular sock machine, so I can knit tubes, cut in heels and toes, etc. Yeah, so we'll see. I just made him a pair of socks for his birthday, so I mean, I've got a good 10 months till Christmas. Oh, Father's Day though. That's way far in the future. I also got this. This is another acquisition that I forgot to mention. Isn't it cute? Little llamas. No, alpacas. Alpacas are good. Llamas are evil. According to the internet, anyway. This is from Penny of Creek Gardens Crafts. She makes all kinds of bags and little notions, things, and whatever. This is like a pencil case. I got another one with robots on it for my kids for a pencil case. But this one I have DPNs in. I hate DPNs. So wrapping them up in this pretty little cute little package makes DPN. I don't really use DPNs for much at all, actually. But this is really cute. Sometimes you just need a DPN, so you kind of have to have them, but I prefer not to because they're the devil's work. Sorry for all you DPN lovers out there. I remember the first knit night that I ever went to. As an introvert, that was really hard. I remember standing outside. It was in like a cafe. I remember standing outside and like feeling like I was gonna throw up because I didn't know anybody in there. But I was knitting, and I knew this knit night was happening. It was Chantel of Knititude. It was her knit night that she has every Thursday. And I went in, and everyone was so nice. And where the hell was I going with that? I really gotta get this over with. Knitting. Oh, DPNs. There was a woman sitting at the end of the table, and she was knitting a sock with DPNs. But she was also, like, she was knitting a cabled sock, I think. Like, she had, it looked like fucking Edward Scissorhands in there, man. Like, it was like, there were needles sticking out everywhere, and then she was cabling with a cable needle. And this was the first knit night I ever went to, and I was like, what the hell? She was really nice. Yeah, but that was my first knit night experience. But they were lovely. They all were super welcoming. I went to that knit night for a while, and then just the night didn't work for me. My kids have crazy schedules, and that night of the week hasn't worked for me for a while. There's another knit night that I go to every once in a while when all the stars align and there's an opening in my schedule. Yeah, knit nights are fun. It's nice to be in a room with other people who enjoy the same things as you and don't think it's weird. And you can talk about things and they're like, yeah, me too. It's pretty fun. Anyway, this is, okay, an hour. That's pretty good. I should probably go check and make sure my son is alive out there. I did hear him giggling, so I think he's probably okay. If he's sick, I want him to get it done and out of the way before we go on our little holiday, because that would really suck. I think that was all I had to say. So I'm going to stop dragging it out. Say thank you for watching. I hope this second episode hasn't been a massive letdown. I felt like the first one went really well, and have been thinking, how the hell am I going to make another one as good as that one? So sorry if this was a letdown, and I understand if you don't want to watch it anymore. But please do. And please leave me nice comments. I love, love, love reading the comments. It's so fun. And yeah, see you next time.